In a galaxy teetering on the edge of war, the Andromedan Empire, known for its advanced technology and exotic royalty, faced a threat from the malevolent Zintari. Their prize? Princess Seraphina, a revered figure with immense political and symbolic value. Her capture would ensure the Empire's collapse, and the Zintari knew it. On Earth, the young human student Jack Carter was finishing up his final year at the Galactic Academy. Earth had only recently been accepted into the intergalactic community, and humans were still seen as weak, behind in technology, and far less evolved than the more ancient species. One night, an urgent message flashed across the Academy's communication system. Princess Seraphina had been kidnapped. The Andromedan Empire placed a bounty on her return, but their most skilled warriors had failed to locate her. However, Jack had been studying the galactic patterns for weeks, and something clicked. He realized that the Zintari were using cloaking technology rarely known outside certain elite circles. This allowed their ships to appear invisible to most scans. With his sharp intellect, Jack located an anomaly in a distant star system, exactly where they were holding the princess. Despite being a mere student, Jack decided he couldn't wait for the bureaucracy of military forces. He hacked into a small scout ship and made his way to the location. Arriving in the hostile system, Jack's ship barely avoided detection. He landed on the Zintari base, a fortress on a moon surrounded by deadly ion storms. Using his knowledge from the Academy and some clever tricks, he infiltrated the base, disabling their security one system at a time. Finally, after hours of sneaking through narrow corridors and dodging heavily armed guards, Jack found the princess in a high-security cell. She was unlike any royal he had imagined, tall, graceful, with radiant skin that shimmered under the moon's light. Even in captivity, she carried herself with regal poise. Seraphina was shocked to see a human standing before her. "You're here to save me?" she asked incredulously. "I may not be much, but I'm your best shot right now," Jack replied with a smirk. Seraphina looked Jack up and down, her disbelief turning into hope. Despite his unassuming appearance, there was something about him, his determination, his calm under pressure, that made her trust him. Jack quickly explained his plan. "The guards are expecting a large military force, but they're not watching for one person. We'll sneak out the way I came in and hijack a small craft. The storm should cover our tracks." With time running out, they moved through the base's shadowy corridors, relying on Jack's careful planning and Seraphina's surprising agility. Along the way, they encountered a squad of Zintari soldiers. Jack used a small EMP device to disable their weapons, while Seraphina, trained in Andromedan self-defense, took down two of them with a graceful, lethal precision. Jack couldn't help but be impressed. After a tense journey, they reached the hangar and boarded a small stealth craft. As they sped away from the base, the ion storms erupted in full force, masking their escape perfectly. But their troubles weren't over yet. The Zintari fleet had picked up the escape, and soon, several warships were on their tail. Jack expertly maneuvered through the chaotic storm, using every trick he'd learned at the Academy. Just as they were about to be caught, Seraphina activated the ship's advanced cloaking system, something only Andromedan royals had access to. They vanished from sight, leaving the Zintari ships searching aimlessly. Safe for the moment, they set course for Andromeda. During the journey, Jack and Seraphina shared their stories. Seraphina opened up about the immense pressure of her royal responsibilities, and Jack confessed how Earth's low standing in the galaxy often left him feeling underestimated. "You've already proven yourself more capable than many I've met," Seraphina said, her eyes warm. "You saved me when no one else could." As they neared Andromeda, news of the princess's rescue spread quickly. Jack was hailed as a hero. When they landed, the Andromedan court was in awe of the young human who had defied the odds. The Emperor himself rewarded Jack with the highest honor, but it was Seraphina who gave him the most unexpected gift. A few months later, Jack was invited back to Andromeda for a royal celebration. To his shock, Seraphina announced that she had chosen Jack to be her royal consort, not just out of gratitude, but because she had developed deep feelings for him during their escape. Her declaration caused a stir among the noble houses, but Seraphina was firm in her decision. Soon after, their relationship blossomed and the royal family expanded. Seraphina gave birth to twin heirs, part human, part Andromedan, uniting the two worlds in a way that no treaty ever could. Jack, once an ordinary student from Earth, had become part of the royal legacy, forever altering the course of galactic history. As time passed, Jack's new life as a royal consort was filled with both wonder and challenges. The twin heirs, Nova and Orion, carried the features of both their human father and Andromedan mother. Their striking appearance, with skin that glowed faintly in the dark and eyes that sparkled like stars, captivated the entire empire. They were seen as the future of the Andromedan dynasty, a symbol of unity between Earth and the larger galactic community. Jack, however, was thrust into the complexities of royal politics. While many in the empire celebrated his heroism and the bond he shared with Seraphina, not all were pleased. Some of the more traditional Andromedan nobles questioned whether a human could truly understand the intricacies of ruling an interstellar empire. One evening, during a grand banquet celebrating the twins' first year, one of the most influential nobles, Lord Thaler, addressed Jack with thinly veiled disdain. "So, the empire's future now lies in the hands of a human," Thaler said, swirling his glass of golden wine. "What could someone from a backwater planet like Earth possibly offer the Andromedan throne?" The room fell silent. Jack could feel the eyes of the court on him, waiting to see how he would respond. Seraphina, who had been at his side, began to rise in defense of her consort, but Jack gently placed his hand on hers, signaling her to let him handle it. Standing tall, Jack faced Lord Thaler with calm confidence. "It's true that Earth is young in its place among the stars," Jack began. "But it's also true that our people have survived every challenge we've faced, not because we're the strongest or the most advanced, but because we adapt. We learn from others, and we thrive in the face of adversity. Earth may not be an ancient power like Andromeda, but our strength lies in our perseverance and our capacity to unite with others." He paused, scanning the room. "I didn't save Seraphina because I wanted a throne. I did it because I care about her, just as I care about the future of this empire, our empire. And our children, Nova and Orion, represent the best of both worlds. They're not just heirs to a throne. They're a bridge to a future where humans and Andromedans work together as equals." For a moment, no one spoke. Then, slowly, applause began to ripple through the crowd, starting with some of the younger nobles and eventually spreading to the entire hall. Even Seraphina's father, the emperor, stood and clapped, pride evident on his face. Lord Thaler, clearly outmaneuvered, gave a begrudging nod and returned to his seat. The night continued in celebration, but Jack knew that his journey as part of the royal family was far from over. The twins grew quickly, and with their growth came even more attention. Their abilities began to manifest early. Nova had an uncanny ability to manipulate energy fields, and Orion could communicate telepathically, a skill long believed to be lost among the Andromedan royal lineage. Jack and Seraphina ensured they were trained not just in the ways of their mother's empire, but also in the resilience and creativity of humanity. Despite their royal duties, Jack and Seraphina found time to explore the galaxy together, often returning to Earth where Jack would show Seraphina and the twins the wonders of his home planet. Earth, now seen as a valuable ally to the Andromedan Empire, thrived in its new role. Human technology advanced rapidly, with cultural exchanges and scientific collaborations reaching new heights. However, peace was not destined to last forever. A new threat loomed on the horizon, a mysterious force from beyond the galactic rim, far more dangerous than the Zintari. The Empire needed leaders who could think differently, who could unite not just planets, but entire civilizations. Jack, Seraphina, and their children stood at the forefront of this new challenge, knowing that the future of the galaxy depended on their ability to balance both human and Andromedan strengths. Years passed, and the galaxy had seen both prosperity and peril under the reign of Jack and Seraphina. Their children, Nova and Orion, grew into powerful, capable leaders, embodying the best of both their human and Andromedan heritage. Yet, as Jack had anticipated, peace in the galaxy was fragile, and soon a threat unlike any before would test them all. From the farthest reaches of the universe came the Veilari, an ancient race of conquerors long thought extinct. They moved with terrifying efficiency, consuming planets and civilizations as if they were mere obstacles in their path. They were technologically superior to even the Andromedan Empire, and their sheer numbers overwhelmed every defense. The Veilari were led by a figure known as the Sovereign, a being of immense power whose cold logic saw all other species as inferior and deserving of assimilation or destruction. The galaxy, once divided into various factions and empires, now faced the grim reality that they had no choice but to unite against this unstoppable force. Jack and Seraphina were at the heart of this alliance, leading a council of galactic leaders who would determine the course of the war. But it wasn't enough. Even with all the galaxy's armies combined, the Veilari fleet was simply too vast. The Veilari offered a cruel bargain: surrender, and some worlds would be spared, but at the cost of losing their autonomy forever. In the midst of this galactic crisis, Jack discovered something extraordinary. Deep within the ancient archives of Andromeda, buried in forgotten data files, was a record of a secret Andromedan project, a weapon powerful enough to annihilate an entire fleet. It had been deemed too dangerous, too uncontrollable, and was hidden away eons ago. The weapon, known as the Celestial Pulse, was powered by an energy source that existed only in the heart of a dying star, an energy that could only be harnessed by beings capable of withstanding extreme conditions. Jack knew that the only ones who might survive activating the weapon were his own children, Nova, with her energy manipulation abilities, and Orion, with his telepathic strength. But using the Celestial Pulse would require them to sacrifice everything, including their lives. When Jack presented the grim reality to the council, Seraphina was torn. She had spent her life protecting their children, guiding them to become leaders for a brighter future. Now, she was faced with the impossible choice of sending them to their deaths to save the galaxy. But Nova and Orion were resolute. "We were born for this," Nova said, her eyes filled with determination. "We are the children of two worlds, and our purpose has always been greater than just ruling." Orion, always the calm voice of reason, placed his hand on his mother's shoulder. "We can't allow the Veilari to destroy everything. Father always taught us that true strength comes from doing what is right, no matter the cost." Seraphina's eyes filled with tears, but she knew in her heart that they were right. Jack, too, felt the weight of this decision, but he was filled with immense pride in the courage his children showed. Together, they traveled to the dying star where the Celestial Pulse lay dormant. The Veilari fleet was advancing rapidly, and they had little time left. As Nova and Orion approached the weapon's control core, the energy from the dying star surged around them, threatening to tear them apart. But they held firm, channeling their unique abilities to stabilize the energy. With one final surge, the Celestial Pulse activated. A beam of unimaginable power erupted from the core, spreading out like a wave across space. The Veilari fleet, which had once seemed invincible, was obliterated in an instant. Their ships turned to dust in the face of the pulse's raw energy. But as the pulse consumed the Veilari, it also began to overwhelm Nova and Orion. Jack and Seraphina could only watch in horror as their children, their greatest hope and pride, vanished into the light. The star collapsed into a supernova, and silence followed. The galaxy was saved, but at a terrible cost. Back on Andromeda, Jack and Seraphina returned to a galaxy forever changed. Their children were hailed as the greatest heroes in the history of the universe, and statues were erected in their honor across countless worlds. The alliance they had forged among the galaxy's civilizations remained strong, and peace was restored. Though their hearts were heavy with grief, Jack and Seraphina found solace in knowing that Nova and Orion had fulfilled their destiny. They had given everything to ensure the survival of both human and Andromedan legacy. Their sacrifice created a new era of unity, where the once divided civilizations of the galaxy now stood together, stronger than ever. In the quiet moments, Jack would often look to the stars, remembering the incredible journey that had brought him from a humble human student to the father of two of the galaxy's greatest heroes. And in those moments, he knew that their story wasn't over. It lived on in the hearts of everyone they had saved, and in the endless stars above, where Nova and Orion's legacy would shine forever.